Was good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm going to be bringing y'all the top 3 best all-around builds on NBA 2K22 current gen. But man, as y'all can see as well, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody who wants to join the Rich Gang family, be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications. Hit that like button and do not forget to drop a comment down below when complete. Now, as y'all can see, today the very first build that I got coming at y'all today is going to be the two-way facilitating finisher. But with this build, I'm telling you, you're going to have everything out of the defensive end as well as the offensive end when it comes down to this specific build. Now, this is a very well-rounded build, I'm telling you. Probably one of the best new meta builds in the game that you're going to be seeing. So as you can see with the pie charts, we're going to be going with the blue as well as even you could even change this up if you really want to. You can go with the blue or even the yellow, playmaking and the finishing, or even blue and red. This all comes down to what you want to do, but let's go ahead and get right into it now. Just follow along. Be sure to pick the physical pie chart with an 80 speed, 80 acceleration, and an 84 vertical. Then we're going to max out the first 3 categories when it comes down to the finishing. Go with the 51 standing dunk. That's going to give us 15 to 16 finishing badges depending on the way that you go about it. Now for the shooting, we're going to go with an 80 midi, 78 three-pointer, and an 85 free throw for 15 shooting badges. For the playmaking, we're getting 14 badges out of this area. And then finally, with the defensive end, we're going to end it off with 7, y'all. Now, keep in mind the extra badge points that we are going to be able to unlock. When it comes down to this build, you have the potential to get 10 plus defensive badges. Now, when it comes down to what this build is going to be looking like for the physicals, when it comes down to the weight, I'm going to go ahead and drop this. And also with the height, that is very specific. So just be sure to follow along. You can even make this build to 6'4", 6'5", and even 6'6", as well as 6'7". Now, as for the wingspan, you want to make sure to go ahead and put this to an 86.0. At 99 overall, we will be able to unlock all of the contact dunks as well as the pro dribble moves. Now, when it comes down to the takeover, this is really all based on your preference. I'm going to go with the shot creating or the lockdown. Both of these are very overpowered. And as y'all can see, we have made the two-way facilitating finisher. Now, if you decide to go ahead and make this build, you can really make your own adjustments to it. Again, this all really comes down to your personal preference, the way you want to go about it, as well as what you feel comfortable with. But for this second build that I got lined up for y'all, I'm telling you, the builds are only going to continue to get even better as we go along. And I'm not just saying that because honestly, when it comes down to a majority of these builds, I really go back and forth with making sure that I'm going to be able to get at least all of the badge points that I do want in all areas of this build. But also on top of all that, consider what this build is going to be looking like once you go ahead and throw on your own style of play to it. Now, what I mean by that is if there is anything different other than what I show y'all, what you want to put on this build, go ahead and make your own adjustments. Yes, you do risk making sure that you're going to be able to change the build name, but that really all comes down to the way that you see it through. Now, if you really wanted to, you can change up any type of pie chart to make any build for the most part. A thing that I would highly recommend though is if you do follow along, just make sure to make the build completely all the way through first, and then once you want to make your own adjustments from there, you'll be able to. Now for this one, we're going to go with the pie chart of the green and red, shooting and the defensive end, but we're going to go with a little bit more shooting. Now, when it comes down to the physical profile, this is really up to you as well. But for me, I would consider the very first one or the fourth. Both of these are some really nice options. Again, it all comes down to a personal preference with how you want to make your own builds. Now for me, what I would really have to say is when it comes down to the finishing on this build, you got to be very specific in order to maintain the build name that we're going to get, because this is probably the most rare build on this list out of all 3. Now, as you can see, when it comes down to the finishing on this build, very specific as well. So right here, I want to be sure to maintain 5 finishing badges and still be able to get park dunks. Now, when it comes down to the shooting, go ahead and max out that 3-pointer, put that midi to an 81 with a 63 free throw. That's going to give us 14 badges right here. Now, once we go ahead and move into the playmaking, this is probably one of the best builds out of all 2K, because the reason being, this is honestly a very well-rounded build. Kind of can play like a lockdown, but also it really can run guard. Once we go ahead and adjust the physicals, I'm telling you, this build is going to look much better than what it's showing right now. But 18 badges on the defensive end, 11 for the playmaking, 14 for the shooting, and then you're going to end up with 5 at least when it comes down to the finishing. So if you wanted to, you can change any badge off of your preference when it comes down to the setup, as well as how we're going to be able to go about setting up the badges. Now, what I mean by that is if you want to go ahead and try to get extra badge points in other areas, do so. But again, the only thing you are risking is changing up the build name. But if you like all around the setup of what the build is, I'm telling you, this is going to be the build for you. So as you can see, even with a 78.7 wingspan, once you get to 96 overall, that's when you're going to be able to get the park dunks unlocked. But then also, you do have the potential to get a 99 three-pointer for sure, as well as a 99 mid-range. It all comes down to the way that you see this build through. And even with that 99 speed, something that I would definitely consider when it comes down to making this build. Now, of course, you can always go ahead and consider as well the pro dribble moves that we will be getting at 99 overall, making this build just that much more overpowered. But as you can see, the sharpshooting as well as the lockdown takeover, both of these are some really good options to pick from. I'm going to go ahead and leave it up to y'all. For better defensive stats, go with the lockdown takeover, but to get that 99 three-pointer, I would highly recommend going ahead and picking the sharpshooting takeover. And as y'all can see, we have made the two-way 3-point facilitator build. I'm bringing y'all rare build names as well as builds that are going to be able to succeed in any game mode, y'all. Now, if you are still here watching, already made it more than halfway through the video, I want you to know I appreciate y'all. I love you. Yes, you. God loves you. And just know I'm going to continue to drop the bangers, so you might as well hit that like button, hit that sub button, drop a comment down below, and turn on post notifications, because the Rich Gang family is taking off this year and I don't want to leave y'all behind, or anybody that's trying to join. So let's go ahead and get right, follow up through, and now let's go ahead and talk about the third build on this list that I got lined up for y'all. Again, another all-around build, but I'm telling you, with this one, probably my favorite out of all three, because today I'm going to be bringing y'all a lockdown takeover with a playmaking shot creator build. And on top of all that, the way that I made it, the build is going to be very special on the defensive end. So first, I'm going to go with the point guard position, easily the best way to make this build. But then once it goes ahead and gets into the pie chart, this is where things are going to be a little bit different from what you normally see. So I'm going to go with the one split right down the middle with the shooting as well as the playmaking. But here's the thing. You have two options to pick from right here. Now, if you want to, go with the first one for the fastest speed. If you want a higher vertical, go with the fourth one. But now, let's go ahead and see what makes this build so special when it comes down to the breakdown of the attributes. So for the finishing, go ahead and max out the driving layup, driving dunk. Also, we're going to go ahead and leave it at that, y'all. Do not touch anything else. This is going to be set up perfectly. Now, let's go ahead and get into the shooting. So as you can see, I'm going to go with a 90 mid-range shot as well as an 87 three-pointer. From there, that's going to give us 17 shooting badges. Now, once we go ahead and get into the playmaking right here, we're going to go max out that pass accuracy, ball handle, and then go with the post control of 62 for 24 badges. And then finally, on the defensive end, we're going to be able to maintain 10 defensive badges, some really nice stats on the defensive end as well. And I'm telling you, on this build, if you do run with the correct teammates, running floor general and defensive leader, buy boost, get this build to 99 overall, and add in that lockdown takeover, all of your defensive stats will be in the 90s, making this the craziest, versatile, offensive and defensive build that you're going to be seeing. Now, as for the height, you have a lot of options as well as choices to pick from. So you can go as small as 6'3" all the way up to 6'5", y'all. Now, if you decide to go ahead and make it exactly how I do, you're going to be able to say that we're going to be able to get that lockdown takeover. But if you wanted to go with 6'3", even 6'2", that is something you can definitely consider. Again, for my style, I would definitely have to say going under 6'2" and even at 6'3" is a little small for me. So I would really consider 6'4" or 6'5" just to help out a little bit more on the defensive end. Now, if I throw out a recommendation for y'all, I would choose between 6'3" as well as 6'4". And if you're still watching, man, just know that I appreciate y'all. And y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications. Hit that like button. And do not forget to leave a comment down below when done. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the end of this build. We're going to go with the Lockdown Defender Takeover. And as y'all can see, we have made the playmaking shot creator with the lockdown versatility added to it. I love y'all. I thank y'all. Again, thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. And man, Rich out.